I want to talk today about who's afraid of the big bad wall, visual management, and Gamba walks. Um, I'll do a very short self-introduction. I work at Agile Spark, which is Israel's leading agile consultancy. Um, I've been in the field for a while. Um, I'm married with twins. I have a master's in Buddhism and East Asian cultures, and I do a lot of martial arts, mainly with swords and sticks, as you can see at the picture on the bottom. If you want to reach me after this talk for anything, you have the email here. It's inbar@agilesparks.com. And I'm also blogging out of leansamurai.com, where you can also download the slides and leave any kind of comment you want, and I'll be very happy for comments. So I want to start by telling a story. It's a story of a manager who goes on vacation. He's been away for 3 weeks. He just came back, and he wants to know what's going on with his project. He's really been out of it. He hasn't been in touch at all, and now he wants to know what's going on. So first, he's wondering, well, how's my Scrum team doing? So he goes over to the team area to look at the Scrum board. He looks at it. He can see there are user stories, there are tasks, and it's very nice, but it doesn't give him any indication of how the iteration is going, or definitely how his project is going. So that's okay. In Scrum, we also have other visibility tools. So he goes over to see the burn down chart. And it's a very nice burn down chart. It looks okay, but still he's not yet sure about how everything is going. Not a problem. I'll just wait for the daily. In the daily meeting, I'll be able to hear exactly what's going on in my project. So that's good. So he goes over to the daily meeting, and he gets a lot of updates. Yesterday, I worked on task 1. I will finish it today. No impediments. Since last time, I worked on the production issues. I'm still on them and have no problems. I'm just updating for Phil. He's at home with his child and hopes to come back tomorrow. But again, I still don't know how my project is doing. So I'm asking a question: how is Phil doing on testing the subsystem? Bzzzt. I'm sorry, but we have a joke on chicken and pigs in Scrum, so we don't answer questions. See, it goes something like this. There's a pig and a chicken, and they're going down the street. Never mind. I'll just go see the Kanban team. Again, he looks at the Kanban board. Nice, I can see no breaking of WIP limits. But again, I don't know how the project is doing. Never mind, I'll just wait for the daily. Waiting around. Okay, nobody's showing up. When is the daily? Dude, didn't you see the board? We're like totally at flow. We only meet when there are bottlenecks. Okay, so how is my project doing? And a lot of the problems that we see when we're working mostly with enterprise customers, is that there's a lot of visibility going on. There's Scrum team, there are Kanban boards, there are a lot of graphs going around, but within all this visibility, there's a huge invisibility of the status of the project. It's very hard for managers to get to what's going on. So a lot of the time what they're doing is they're talking to the teams and telling them, please change your board so that it will reflect what I need to see. Now I have a problem with that. The team's board belongs to the team. The team needs it to reflect what they need to see to be able to perform their job, to be able to be self-managed. But the manager has a relevant point. He also needs to know what's going on. The issue is even worse a lot of the time, because a lot of the time the manager is in his room. He doesn't even bother to go out. He has no idea what's going on. So the first question is the Gemba. The Gemba is a term from lean management. It is the place, any place where humans create value. It's a quote from Jim Womack. And what they're sometimes doing in lean is they're doing Gemba walks. And Jim just had a great book out, which I recommend, called Gemba Walks, in which he talks about how he's going around in customer sites and spots problems by walking around. So he says you need to do three things on those kind of Gamba walks. You need to go, you need to see, you need to ask why, and you need to show respect. And works great for lean companies, but we're software companies. And so it's really hard in software development to know, well, okay, I want to go around, but where do I need to go? What do I want to see? With whom should I talk? What should I ask them? And how do I show respect? So the first question I want to, and these are the questions that I want to answer in this presentation, how to use visual management and Gamba walks to get what we need from project. So the first thing I'm suggesting is that the first question I want to answer is, where do I need to go? Well, the real Gamba is, again, where work gets done. It's where developers code. It's where business analysts analyze. It's where testers test. But a lot of the time, going there and trying to see things is very, very hard. I still think that managers, project managers, and otherwise should be going to this kind of Gamba and talk to people all the time. But when I talk about Gamba walks, I try to talk about the visual boards. That is, team boards, like we've seen before, like we have here on the left, and project boards, which we will see more as we progress, on the right. The way I visualize it, the way we do it, is the project manager gets up, he takes with him people from the various teams, we'll talk about that in a second, and they go around the various boards of the different teams, asking the questions, looking at what needs to be looked at, and finish up in front of the project board where they can now talk about how the entire project is doing. And those kind of Gamba walks are done in the actual location where the teams meet, where they can actually meet team members and ask questions if the need arises. So we're going around on those tours around the visual boards, and what should we be looking at? Well, the first thing we should be looking at is immediate problems. What is currently stopping our teams? But I'm actually not hoping to see a lot of those, because as a project manager or a manager, I hope immediate problems surface quicker than just when I'm touring the facility. I hope I already know about any immediate problem. I do want to notice potential problems, what could go wrong in the upcoming short while. I want to use those tours to try to see where things could go wrong. And I especially want to try to find ways to improve. How can we do our process better? So in order to do those kind of walks, and in order to see this kind of information, personally, I prefer physical boards. I'm not saying that you cannot use electronic boards. They have a lot of good things to them. But even if you have an electronic board, I would try to have it either all the time visible or have, in addition, a physical board. And this is another quote from a good book that I recommend, The Remedy. Take information out of the box known as the computer and make it visible and understandable to users. A lot of the time, when I'm asking people, how's the sprint doing? How's the project doing? I get the answer, well, you can see it in the computer. Well, if it's in the computer and you don't know it, you can't respond to it. So the people to talk to are the actual team. We need to go around and start talking to the team members. And these are the teams in the project, or the teams that I'm touring the Gamba walk, and I will show that later that these might not just be for project, we can also do them as managers of people. But you actually need to go around and talk to the team and the people that have the problems or that are engaged in the project. And I want to ask a lot of questions. Well, first of all, I try to walk the Gamba from downstream to upstream so I can see how upstream processes are affecting downstream processes. So I try to ask, what are the current problems? What could come up in the next few days? How are you improving? How are you affected by upstream? And I try to have a stop and fix mentality. That is, when we see problems, we try to come up with solutions and fix them. And I show respect to people, and this is again something a lot of managers think that showing respect is letting go, just telling, oh, it's a self-managed team, we'll just let them go and hope that everything is okay. And I think that showing respect is asking hard questions, showing that you care and showing that you will be willing to help solve the problem and help them reach a solution by actually asking them the hard question, which will let them understand that there is a problem. So after we tour the teams, I think we need to have a project board, and those project boards need to be very visible and very accessible so that immediately we see what are the status of the project. Is it doing okay? Is it not doing okay? Where is it doing okay? Where isn't it doing okay? What changed in our current priorities? What are our impediments? What are our Kaizen plans? What are new epics that we're trying to solve? What are things that we've already done? And then we can scale that up. If you're doing a Gemba walk of project by program manager, he can walk the project board and then finish with a program board, which have things from all the project boards and has a dependency map, an impediment board. You can have a VP R&D board touring the various teams and finishing in a VP R&D board with the team leaders to talk about how is the R&D doing. Or a QA leader board to see how the QA is doing as a group. And for me, a good visual board needs to talk. It needs to tell a story. It needs to always be visible. It needs to be a living entity. That means it can't be static. If nobody's updating it, if it's just sitting there, then either it's not important or nobody will actually take care of it, and then it will just wither and die. It needs to be very simple and very self-explanatory, so that anybody walking around can come to the board and immediately see how those boards are doing, whatever is going on in this project. Anybody, any manager, anybody from outside can immediately see what's going on. And I think a lot of people should be having those boards. It could be support. It could be individual people, account managers, CEOs. Anybody should be having those kind of boards and should be going around on those kind of Gemba walks. So after this talk, I would be happy if you actually take the chance to get out of your seat, whether you're coaching or managing. Get out of your seat, visualize things, and ask teams hard questions, because this is the way for you to actually understand what's going on. And this is what I would like for you to take from this talk. I would be happy to get any feedback. As I said, the slides are available at leansamurai.com, or you can email me at inbar@agilesparks.com. I want to thank you for listening to my lightning talk right now, and if you have any questions and there's still time, I'll be happy to fill them in.